So let's stop and think about it. Why do you do what you do? What got you started into what you're doing now? Sometimes we move so quickly and we get so fixated in watching other people's journeys, getting caught up in our own, that we forget to really think about, why did we get started in the first place? What really drove us here to the point where we're at today? Whether you're working a 9 to 5, you own your own business, you're in network marketing, you're a small business owner, whatever that may be, what drove you into what you're doing now? And I want you to think about this phrase right here. This is super, super powerful. More isn't always bigger, it's deeper. More isn't always bigger, it's deeper. Really think about that. So many people think, I gotta make more money, I gotta have a bigger impact, and all those are great things. But when was the last time you stopped and said, hey, let's go deeper? I want to give you some examples and share a little bit about my story, because it's not just me talking at you, it's me talking with you and sharing my journey along the way. Because without seeing somebody's journey, how are you really going to know where to go and how to get to where you want to be? So again, you got to stop and think, and you got to take time to stop and think about what brought you to where you are right now. So my journey of what brought me to where I am right now of being an on-camera and social media consultant is first, and you may not know this if you're new following me, I was a news anchor and reporter for about 5 years. And I got into that to really tell people's stories. But guess what? When I really discovered my voice, when social media really started to kick in of here's personal branding, here's Molly, take it or leave it, like me or don't, it's all good. I really started to utilize that because the stories I was telling in the news weren't actual stories that were making an impact and a difference. I mean, to be honest, there's just not enough resources, nor did they want to give the resources to tell stories that really made a good impact. The news, quite honestly, was created to instill fear in people, to keep them locked into something that distracted them from their purpose and their God-given abilities and talent. I am a firm believer in that. And if you believe that, show some hearts below, because that is so important to hold on to. And that could be a whole nother live in and of itself. But when I started to share my voice and I started to share what really mattered, I was given a lot of pushback. And ultimately, they tried to silence me. And what I don't share about a ton of the time, because it's a whole long story, is I was actually fired from my last news job because I wanted to inspire and instill confidence in other people of look, you can do it too. And it all started in a fitness journey. So I put myself through a fitness not a competition, through like a weight loss journey. And I was able to really slim down, feel absolutely amazing. And I showed people a before and after photo. Well, my boss and my news station didn't like that. And when they said, hey, you need to take that down, I said, why? This isn't on like a company profile. This is on my own personal page. I want to inspire people to feel good in their own bodies, because as you can see, every morning you see my sparkly little shoes going to the gym, because pouring into your health is absolutely number one. Mental health, physical health, so important. And when I said, I'm not going to take that down, they said, if you don't, we're going to fire you. And I eventually took it down, but I sat there and I said, you know what? Like, this is horrible. They want to silence me from wanting to share my story with other people. Well, long story short, I ended up getting on social media and sharing, like, you know what? This is how my job wants to silence me. And you know what? That obviously egged a few people on. I ended up getting fired for it because I said, hey, you're trying to silence me for trying to inspire other people. I'm just not doing it the way that you see fit. I'm not doing it the way that you see fit. But I didn't let that stop me. When I got fired from that news job, it felt like a huge burden was lifted, because I know in my heart that my mission is to be able to help people share their story. And that's what I get to do today with my on-camera confidence coaching, through the social strategies. It's helping people get that confidence in their messaging, who they want to target, who they want to share it with, and then how to be intentional with that so the right people see it. Because when I was on the news, I thought that was right. I thought, oh my gosh, here's this big, huge platform that I can share. But guess what? It didn't fit in their agenda. It didn't fit in their story. It didn't fit in their timeline of how they wanted to do things. So, we just parted ways. It's not that I couldn't have got a job somewhere else. I just said, you know what? I don't want to do it like this. So that point number one is somebody tried to silence me, but I overcame it because I found another avenue. And where in your life have you been tried to be silenced, or somebody said, hey, don't do that, or don't share that, or that's not right. And they're putting their own limiting beliefs on you because they don't know what they don't know, or it's not comfortable for them. Guess what? When you start sharing especially authentically, vulnerably, and coming from a place that I really want to serve, there's going to be a lot of pushback on that, because that's going to trigger something in other people of, you know what? They're doing it. I probably should too, but I don't want to go through the stickiness and the messiness of growth. I really don't. Most people don't want to do the inner work. And you see me week in and week out on here on my Influence and Conversion series, having these amazing service-based entrepreneurs come on here. And a lot of that talk is mindset. And the reason being is because if you have a limiting mindset, you're going to have limited results. If you have an expanded and abundant mindset, you're not committed to how long it takes. You're just committed to the overall goal and the overall vision of what are we going to do to get there. And it's so important to sink in on that. Another reason when it comes to why I do what I do, and you can even ask yourself this question is, why do you want to share your message? Why do you want to show up on social media and share what it is that you're doing? One of the reasons I did is I wanted to be heard. I was in an industry when I was a news anchor and reporter that, where I'm like, oh, here's this great platform. I can share, I can give other people a voice. But guess what? I wasn't really being heard. Actually, I was being poked and prodded and people telling me like, oh, why is she wearing that? Or why is she talking like that? And like, just trying to bring me down. The trolls on the internet, right? There's trolls absolutely everywhere that want to trip you up and help you or help bring you down along the way. Help, right? They think they're helping. They think their opinion matters, but really, whose opinion actually matters to you? Ask yourself that question. Whose opinion actually matters to you? And it should be a very, very small circle, maybe like a couple people at most. The reason being is we let everybody's opinion come in and impact our decisions. We're never going to be able to find our own voice. Oh, let me say that again. If we let everyone's opinions come in and affect our decisions, we are never going to find our own voice. And let me know if that resonates with you. That definitely resonates with me because I used to be and still somewhat a recovering people pleaser. Of course you want to please people. You don't want to rock the boat. But what I learned is if you rock the boat, that's not a bad thing necessarily. It's okay to rock the boat. It's okay to make other people uncomfortable. As long as you're coming from a good place, you're not hurting anyone, and your heart is genuine and true as to why you want to serve other people, and you're coming from a place of service, not status. I'm going to say that one more time. You're coming from a place of service, not status. That is what's going to make the huge difference. So, of course, when you try something new that go against the grain and you're not sure what people are going to think, they're going to push back on it. Why? Because it's not in the popular opinion. It doesn't have the popular vote. If you don't follow the masses right now, if you're not listening to the news and you're doing your own thing, like, guess what? People are going to push back on that because we have been conditioned to follow the masses. And when you break away from that mold, you cause other people to question what they've been doing their entire life. And it's a lot of work to strip away from that and go start something new. It's a lot of work. And sometimes you got to do that all by yourself and you got to be your own cheerleader. You may not have anybody by your side to really support you in that. So when you come on here and you share what it is that you want to share, you got to ask yourself, like, do you want to be heard? Are other people out there just like you and need to hear your message? And guess what? I can give you that cheat. I can give you that answer. It's yes. Other people are out there needing what you have, needing your product, service, experience, and you got to just grow that turtle shell, that thick skin, because, when you think of a baby, it's like you see me posting on my story all the time. I'm always with my niece, like after work. I love being able to just cuddle her and kiss her and that soft baby skin. It's so plush and so amazing to feel. And it's very vulnerable, right? It's vulnerable to everything because it's so plush and it's so new. But we got to get that turtle shell. We got to get that hard, thick rhino skin that things can just bounce off. And it doesn't matter if it's for you or not, it's going to bounce off. It's going to bounce off. Just like when the rain falls from the sky, it's going to absorb in the soil for the grass because it needs it, but the asphalt doesn't need it. So it's just going to bounce off because it's irrelevant at that point. People's opinions and their limiting beliefs that they put on you is irrelevant. It really is. Because again, you should have a very small circle as to who you listen to and what opinions should matter to you. So my first point is, if people are trying to silence you, overcome that. Find a way to get around that and build your belief and build that rhino skin that it doesn't matter about their opinions. Number two, your story is meant to be shared. And maybe you're the one that wants to be heard because you know that people need what you have. Point blank period. People need what you have. And it doesn't matter if they say, no, when you get that yes, that's what it's worth. It's all worth it for the yes, because you're going to get so many no's before you get a yes for whatever it is that you're doing. Maybe it's in the dating world. Maybe it's in your business. It's in a program you're selling, in a product you're selling, whatever that may be. Maybe it's a job you're going after and you keep getting told no. Well, those are going to come up because God's saving you for something so much better. He's actually protecting you with the no's, because maybe you're not ready yet, that person's not ready yet, but it doesn't take away from your value and who you are. And then a third piece to why I do what I do is I was told to stop. I've had very close people in my life say, why are you sharing so much? Why are you so open? Why are you doing what you're doing? I don't get it. You should stop. This makes me uncomfortable. Well, I shared this last week in a prior post. You can't necessarily be a prophet in your own land. You know, the scripture is full of that. Being a prophet in your own land usually doesn't work. Why? Because the people that you're closest to, friends and family that you grew up with, they know you as that old version of you. And when you decide to break away, strip down, really get down to the nitty gritty and rebuild yourself back up to the person that you want to be, they don't know that version of you. And it's uncomfortable for them. Secondly, when you choose to be open and vulnerable and share things that, you know, may go against the grain a little bit, it's just how you want to do things. I mean, we could go on and on. It's going to make people feel uncomfortable because they're going to have to question themselves, being like, you know, like, where are you at? Stop, look, listen, like, where are you at? That's why I labeled this stop and think, because how many times do we just stop and think of where we're really at, really have time to reflect? Why are we doing what we're doing day in and day out? The things that affect our energy, why we're doing the business that we're doing, why we're hanging around the people that we're hanging around. Because you've heard this before, if you don't like the results that you have, then you got to change something. Or are you going to be that person who just complains over and over and over and over and over again, and you're not going to be the one to put into work to actually change it? It's really simple, you guys. You got to stop and think. And when you stop and think, one thing that I've created in my life that hasn't been easy, but it's been super helpful, is having creative time to think. So I actually have all my books here. I got a journal in there that I'll stop and think and be like, okay, what problems are happening in my life? What are things that I don't like? And what are some solutions that I can implement in order to change this? Because a lot of people want to turn to a mentor, which isn't a bad thing, a therapist, somebody to talk to. They want to turn to other people to give them the answer. But sometimes if we just stop and think, we're going to be able to come to that answer that we need. And if you're like myself and you have, you know, a strong faith, being able to stop and sit in prayer and being like, Lord, show me what I'm not seeing. Grant me the wisdom. Wisdom is worth so much more than any physical thing, because when you have the wisdom, you can pretty much go get whatever you want. But it's a matter of what you're seeking. And sometimes you got to stop and think and be like, okay, where am I at? Where are things at? What can I do to pivot? And so when I was told so many different times to stop, I had to stop and think. Right here, I had to stop and think, being like, okay, is what they're saying true? Am I not helping people? Am I not in alignment with myself? Am I not doing something that I should be? Whatever. Because again, these are other people's limiting beliefs they're putting on me. So I'm going to spit that right back to you. What limiting beliefs are other people putting on you that are causing you to question what it is that you're doing? And I'm going to say this, it doesn't get any easier. People are still going to question, they're still going to ask, they're still going to be skeptical until they see that you have results that are up to their standards. People are always going to question you until you have results up to their standards. But at the end of the day, you know your mission. You know your purpose. You know what you were meant to do. And what I tell people from news till now, I'm still doing the same thing. I get to talk to people all day long. I get to network with people. I get to show people, you know, how I can showcase them and be able to share them with the people that I love. I also get to help people showcase their story. I get to help people make sure their story is heard by the right people, because your voice matters. Your voice matters. And a lot of people are like, oh, you know, I don't have the authority. I don't have, you know, the expertise. There's somebody else better out there that's doing it. Well, that's somebody else that's better that you're referring to, that you're thinking about right now. They started exactly where you're starting. All they did was just take that leap and they got started. That's all they did, is they started sharing. People started listening because they were showing up consistently. And I get this question all the time. They're like, how do I get more engagement on my profile? How do I get more people to listen to me? How do I get that? You're asking for the hows when really you just need to start showing up consistently and then start nurturing the people that are already following you. And then you'll start to attract the people that you want to attract because you're starting to show up. People love following people who show up consistently. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? A lot of you that follow me here follow me because I am constantly on here and I'm showing up consistently giving value because I know that somebody out there needs it. And guess what? Somebody out there needs what you have as well. And how are you sharing that with them? How are you showing them through an amazing platform like this that people are scrolling and clicking and spending hours on all the time? Are they spending that time on your content and what you have to say because you're constantly showing up in their feed and they're like, man, this person is just always here, always delivering, always giving value. That's what people want. As humans, we are very selfish. We want to take before we give. Take before we give. Think about that. Think about that. I've always been a giver ever since I was a little kid. I've always wanted to share this, share that, give this, give that, put other people before myself. I've always been that servant-hearted person. That's just like who I am to the core. And that's how I choose to share on social media is like I'm serving by sharing other people. In my influence and conversion series, you can go check out my IGTV. I'm constantly sharing other people with you. Not just sharing about me. It's like, here are other people doing it. Other people that are having great success, great areas of expertise. They've gone through the pit. They're probably still going through it, but they're not choosing to give up. That's the difference. Is the people right now that you're looking up to, that you admire, that, let's be honest, some of you may idolize, just didn't give up. And they just kept going and they kept putting in the time and they kept having the failure after failure after failure before they start having the success. Because sometimes you have to hit failure so many times to get to a point where you're just like, man, what do I got to do? And then it's like those memes that you see where there's like this guy that is digging it underground. You know, he's like a miner. And then you have a picture on top where this guy's like this close to getting the diamond and he's not giving up. And then you have another guy that's walking the other direction, but the diamond is in the same distance. It's just one person didn't want to give up and the other one was tired of working. Where are you at? Why are you doing what you're doing? And are you about ready to give up? Or are you going to keep pushing through because your why is that strong? Your why is that strong. So to kind of wrap everything up, stop settling on other people's limiting beliefs on you. It's easy to accept the popular opinion. It's so easy. So easy. I used to be the one giving the popular opinion, being on the news. Here's what you need to know. Here's what's important. But guess what those topics were? It was like car accident, horrible weather, just death and destruction, corruption in government. I mean, it was just like boom, 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 boom to instill fear in you, to get you to come back later that day to watch more fear to be instilled in you that gets you in a place of paralyzation so you don't move forward. There are certain people that are here to help you. I don't even want to say help, that are here to just make you stop, stay rooted and not move and have you be paralyzed by fear. But what I'm here to say is if you take the time to stop and think for yourself, why are you doing what you're doing? And really be able to ground yourself and renew your mind every day as to this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And no matter what comes my way, I'm committed to this because this is my why and this is what's so important. And my why is to help other people get their story, their mission, their purpose, their love out there, whatever that may be. And I absolutely love doing it. And I know it's so important. Why? Because the first thing that I shared with you is when I started sharing who I was and what was important to me and that it was actually impacting other people, I was silenced in a big way. I got fired and I got talked bad about. And I was on like international blogs on the internet of like, this girl, how could she post a before and after picture? How could she do that? She's a news anchor, like blah, blah, blah. What? Like, people, get a hold of yourself. Like, go do something productive rather than dogging on others. But guess what? I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes it takes the haters and it takes really just ridiculous people to be like, wow, am I really ruffling feathers that bad? Is there something here? But I would have never discovered that if I didn't stop and think for myself. Again, that's why I labeled this talk, Stop and Think, because it's so important to be able to stop, reflect, and really think, why are you doing what you're doing? Who are you letting stop you from pushing your agenda forward? That ultimately, if you have the right heart posture, the right mind, humility, a servant heart to serve others, that is going to push forward. And you just can't be so stuck on how long is it going to take? How long is it going to take? But what will help you, and here's an easy takeaway and probably the best takeaway out of all this, is to, at the beginning of your day, renew your mind. Ask for strength. Lord, give me strength. Give me a renewal of my mind so I can do what I need to do. At the end of the day, Lord, I lay everything at your feet. I surrender. Give me the strength tomorrow. Give me the clarity. Give me the wisdom to know what to do, who to talk to, and how to show up the best way I know how. And that is where you'll really see some amazing benefits, rewards, and just feel good and aligned and just like complete on the inside, I promise you. But it's a daily work. It's a daily work and it's a daily renewal. And as I'm sharing this with you, this is actually great for me because this is the season I'm at in my life right now where I have certain things where I'm like, I should be here, but I'm not quite there yet. But I get to keep pushing because again, it's like that meme that I told you. You got two pictures, two miners going towards the same goal. Each are going for a diamond. One is going to keep going till he gets there and the other one's walking the other direction because he's just given up and he's over it. What person are you? Are you the one that's giving up and over it, wanting to move on, start from scratch? Are you going to keep working hard of what you've been working at to really see it through because you know that your message is meant to be mentorship to somebody else? So thank you so much for everybody that's jumped on live. I appreciate each and every one of you. And again, I encourage you today, a couple times this week, take the time to stop and think. Take the time to stop and think. And really be like, why am I doing what I'm doing? And be able to renew yourself every day to get back on that horse, to get back on that path and say, no matter how long it takes, I'm going to get there. And we're going to pivot and we're going to learn and we're going to ask for support and we're going to keep showing up until we get there. All right, you guys, I'll be back soon. Bye.